Hey everybody, it's Jay from Norman S. Wright. In the last video, we talked about how steam humidifiers work, and I think it's important to talk about water treatment when we talk about humidifiers. So let's talk about that today. Let's get started. The purity of the water that is supplied to the humidification system has a major effect on the performance of the system. If you remember from last week's video, steam humidifiers create water vapor by heating a chamber using electric heating element, gas firing, or boiler steam. As the vapor is driven off by heating, the water impurities can precipitate and collect in the evaporating chamber. Let's move this up. So you've probably heard of hard or soft water. Hard water is water that contains dissolved positive ions. Generally, these are calcium ions or magnesium ions. Calcium typically accounts for as much as 75% of the hardness. So where does the water hardness come from? Water from rain enters the topsoil. Organic matter decomposing in the topsoil produces CO2. This reacts with the water to form carbonic acid, H2CO3, which reacts with limestone, which is calcium carbonate, CaCO3, that's in the ground. And then this is what flows into the water system. Soft water has been demineralized, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute. Let's move this over. So boiling or even heating hard water creates the potential for scale to form. You'll see scale in coffee makers, water heaters, and humidification systems. This is called carbonate or temporary hardness. There's also non-carbonate or permanent hardness, but this type of hardness doesn't form scale when heated, so we're not going to talk about this today. Water softening is a process that removes hard minerals like calcium and magnesium from the water and replaces them with softer minerals like sodium. This helps prevent scale buildup. Let's make room again. Water softeners use resin beads to swap out the hard minerals for sodium or potassium. Over time, the beads fill up with calcium and magnesium and need to be cleaned using a salt water solution, which restores the sodium, and then the process starts over again. When softened water is used in humidifiers, they're kept mostly free of mineral precipitates. And by continually supplying a softened makeup water to the heated evaporator, the concentration of sodium ions can be kept below the point of precipitation, reducing the need for cleaning. Let's move this over. Another method of water treatment is reverse osmosis. In reverse osmosis, water is forced at a very high pressure through a semi-permeable membrane. About 95% of the minerals dissolved in the water are removed. Reverse osmosis is also very efficient at removing turbidity, which is the cloudiness or haziness in water caused by tiny particles suspended in it. It also removes dissolved organic material, bacteria, and pyrogens, which are substances often from bacteria that can cause fever if they get into the body. This is especially a concern in medical or sterile environments. Let's move this up. Another treatment method is deionization. The deionization process produces the purest water. In this process, water is passed over a resin bed made of a chemically charged material. The resin bed attacks and forms chemical bonds with all the dissolved ionized gases and solids. DI water is extremely hungry, meaning it aggressively absorbs and dissolves ions and other impurities, making it reactive and potentially corrosive. So materials coming in contact with it must be made of high-grade stainless steel or special grades of plastic. So let's bring everything back on screen. In high-tech, high-capacity water treatment systems, the water might be softened first, then pass through a reverse osmosis process, and then finally goes through the deionization process. Treated water is critical across many of your building systems. Some of these systems use methods I mentioned today, and some use other methods depending on the application. The specific method depends on the system, materials, and water source. I'll cover some of the other uses of water treatments in a future video, but as always, if you have any questions about water treatment, you can ask your NSW salesperson. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, put them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.